Cadbury.
Mr. Speaker, the case against Runway 3 is as bad as ever for my constituents, and it's now weak overall as the economic case is not met, and that's based on the Department for Transport latest figures. Now, the reason the proposal keeps coming back again and again, 16 years I think it's been, and I've been campaigning against it all that time, but it's not about unwillingness to make a decision. It's because successive generations have realised that the arguments for expansion do not stack up, and only the generously funded Heathrow lobby keep bringing it back and back and back, and will do until they get the answer they want. Meanwhile, we haven't moved on to seriously address alternative solutions to a nationwide UK aviation strategy. Now, on noise and air quality, which affects my constituents most of all, over 300,000 people in our region, West London and the Thames Valley, will get significantly worse noise than they do now. Most of those aren't aware that they will be under the final approach path to the third runway. Those under the existing approach paths to the existing 2 runways currently get 8 hours respite. That will be cut to 6 hours and possibly less. Night flights, the Secretary of State has suggested the cap will be relaxed despite promises. Runway 3 brings 50% more passengers, and yet Heathrow say no new traffic. There's nothing in the NPS to justify that comment.
The honourable member has campaigned valiantly on the issue. She deserves more than 3 minutes to make the case.
I thank my neighbouring colleague. So there is nothing in the NPS to justify how on earth Heathrow could get away with saying no new traffic with 50% more passengers, doubling the amount of cargo, all the increasing flight servicing and the additional staffing. Absolutely impossible. All the existing rail infrastructure that are proposed are needed now, as everybody acknowledges, are needed for current traffic pressures, because our road system has ground to a halt and our air quality is already in breach of EU limits and has been for many years. The government will continue to lose legal challenges because of that. There's nothing in the NPS on increase on air pollution generated by aircraft. There's nothing on the climate change obligations that satisfy the Climate Change Committee, as I'm no doubt we'll hear on Thursday. Expansion, all the passengers from expansion will be outbound leisure passengers and transfer passengers that bring nothing to the economy, and they're taking the tourist pound away from the UK's beautiful tourist destinations. And what expansion at Heathrow means is more use of existing routes, more intense use of existing routes such as New York. It'll restrict growth at non-South East airports by 24%, not my figures but the Department for Transport's. It'll reduce domestic routes to Heathrow from the current 8 to 4 or 5. It'll mean 160,000 fewer international links from regional airports, thus making our regions less connected to the rest of the world than they are now. Transport Select Committee, page 27. The hub airport model is being superseded through the preference for direct point-to-point flights by passengers and businesses who want to go direct, would rather not change, and also by the new ultra-long-haul planes. Unused capacity outside London could, without Heathrow expansion, grow by 62% in flights and 96% in passengers. Without government intervention, domestic slots from regional airports to Heathrow cannot be guaranteed. And the government appears to have written a blank cheque to Heathrow by signing an agreement with a clause reaffirming the company's right to sue the government if ministers back out of the scheme, a clause not included in agreements with Heathrow Hub or with Gatwick. So it's increasingly evident that the government is supporting a scheme that's the most expensive, complex and has a high risk. Heathrow should be better, not bigger.